Hey boys, I kind of want to explain the Dan Heng situation right now because a lot of people are jumping on the boat of he's going to be dog water, he's going to suck, but yeah, he's not amazing, but he's still very good. He's what you would call a luxury unit. And what I mean by that is he works really well in game and he can work for you, but your account isn't really changing if you decide to skip him. He's not a requirement, is kind of what I'm getting at. Oh, but if it's not a requirement, how is he not? Shut up. The way he works is he's the definition of all because you can does not mean you should. So let me explain what I mean. We've all used Dan Heng in the storyline, and the way his skill works is every time you press it, you up your level of skill point usage and you do a stronger attack. And it does this up to 4 times. And everyone's jumping on this boat of he's a massive skill point eater and he's going to consume so much and you can't really build around him. As much as I kind of do agree with he's a one-man army, still a pretty damn good one-man army. Like, how many imaginary characters do we have that are kind of a DPS basis? You can kind of build Yukong in a way like that, but ain't exactly the best way to use her. That being said, I have actually seen someone play as a DPS Lawotcher, and that is probably some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen, but I digress. What I kind of want to explain to you is, with his ultimate, he has an ability in there called Skorma Sacrosancta. Don't know why they named it that, don't ask me why, I just call it Dragon Scales. And what it does is when you rip the ultimate, Dan Heng, or Dan Feng, I don't care if you want to talk about him lore-wise or not, the Lunae guy, he obtains 2 Dragon Scales and they are kind of extra deposit of skill points that are only applied to him. So if you build kind of battery heavy for you Americans, you can kind of get his ult rolling a lot more often than not to kind of be able to hit for the heavier 4-stack skill point attacks and only consume 2 skill points. Like, not that you probably would want to, but you could run double healer with the healer set and have 2 extra skill points going into things. And you could probably build him regen heavy, so he can rip it a lot more often than not. But let me explain the actual attacks in and of themselves, because he has a standard attack, which is obviously just you hit standard, you don't charge it whatsoever. And here's 100% of his attack. This is at level 6. I do every benchmark I have at level 6. And it's a 2-hit attack, and it's a single target enemy. So pretty standard, nothing surprising. And then at 1 charge, which will be consuming a skill point, it is a 3-hit attack that deals imaginary damage equal to 260% of Dan Heng's attack to a single enemy. Still a single target, but it is 2.5x the actual damage output. And then if you press it again, this is where it starts to get expensive, but keep in mind the ultimate does store 2 Dragon Scales, which are pseudo skill points. It uses a 5-hit attack that deals imaginary damage equal to 380% of Dan Heng's attack to a single enemy. From the 4th hit onwards, this is a 5-hit attack by the way, simultaneously deals imaginary damage equal to 60% of his attack to adjacent targets. So now it hits 3 people instead of 1. Kind of good. And that's probably where you would start getting away with it if you do charge the ult enough and you are very scrupulous with when and where you will use your skill points. Because if you're going to be brainless, just charge that thing, press an E like 5 times, you're not even counting, and you're just maxing every single hit, you're only screwing yourself. Or because you can, doesn't mean you should. And then obviously, the big boy, which is a max charge of 3 skill points, is a 7-hit attack that deals imaginary damage equal to 500% of Dan Heng's attack to a single enemy. And from the 4th hit onwards, simultaneously deal imaginary damage equal to 180% of Dan Heng's adjacent targets. So there are 2 hits in that, which do 180% of damage to surrounding enemies. Now, look, the gacha community hates the phrase boss killer. You say that, people are gonna game end you. But I feel like this is probably the perfect place to kind of call him a boss killer, because the real brunt of the blow is going to the individual target in the middle. So for elite targets and obviously MOC, where you got your Kafkas, your Jepards, Svarogs, Sovar and so forth, he's probably the best option there. Granted, there is a lot to be done to be built around him to make him truly effective, but I'm kind of just trying to get the message across that you can get him and not really feel too much remorse like you messed up. He's not that bad. Don't let that message kind of put you away. Now am I going to pull for him? No chance. I'm saving for Fuzhuang. I'm building her as a unit that will be using the ult to do 100k damage everywhere. I'll show you how I build that once I get her. If this video helped you in any way, shape, or form, please consider liking and subscribing. We just passed 700, which is crazy. I can't thank you enough for that, seriously. I am live every single day on Twitch, especially when you're watching this video. Odds are I am live right now playing the 1.3 update. If you have any questions or you just want to hang out, link is in the top of the description. I'm not going to take any more time out of your day. I'ma head out. See ya.